Okay. Hello, Aries. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. I am your resident astrologer, Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you are here. So this is this is kind of a new format. So if you're not new to me, but you're new to this, I would love feedback. This is just a check-in. We're going to look at the week of December 10th, which actually was the beginning of this lunar quarter, the second lunar quarter. We're going to go all the way up to this really bright and revealing full moon in Gemini that we're going to have on the 18th, right before we come into the solstice period. So this is just, like I said, a quick check-in for Aries rising, and then Aries moon and sun people also will probably find some nuggets of inspiration within this. But the chart that is before us is for Aries rising people. So normally this would happen on Friday, and I've already done the general astrology for the week that actually did encompass Friday and the weekend, and then this week leading up to the full moon. So you can check that out. I'll have it linked at the end of this video for you to just click on it and go to it, because I go into a lot more detail about the and channeling the specifics of the different transits. So I don't want to go back over all of that, because this is really just to condense and to specify the information to your sign, in particular Aries, and to look at the areas of your life that these transits are most likely to impact. So it helps to go and listen to the original, well, not the original, but the generalized astrology for the week. So Aries, there are a couple areas here that we want to focus. So first of all, let's draw some attention back to the beginning of this lunar cycle, which was the total solar eclipse on the 4th of December, which is in your 9th house of belief. So Aries, you are really going to follow in the traditional footsteps of the zodiacal astrological year in terms of the signs that your houses are placed in. So what you represent is really the archetype and the blueprint of life in general, Aries, because your identity and selfhood, which is represented in your first house as an Aries rising, shows that you, as in a subjective experience, are also the how you express that is, in fact, in the freedom to enact your potential at any given moment, which is really all Aries is trying to do. And when they can't do that, that's when they tend to be explosive or flare or have all of those very aggressive and initiative traits that Aries tends to carry with them. It's just that they are the spark. You, Aries, are the spark. And when you cannot identify yourself through that spark, you will find a way to do so, and sometimes it is explosive. So, excuse me, oh my gosh. In terms of the 9th house, this is the area of belief and the mystical realm, understanding, the higher mind. This often will be expressed through things like higher education and foreign travel, but this is the big picture. The 9th house is the collective value system that represents the big picture of our collective or organized relationships, or the meaning for us to come together and to create something substantial. So this eclipse was really, for Aries, started in the 9th house, of course, in the area of belief and the mystical realms and the realm of religion and philosophy and what it all means, right? That's the understanding, and the realm of alchemical transmutation is in the 9th house. And so when we see the main transits that have a lot to do with this 9th house in Sagittarius being, for Aries, squaring to the moon and Neptune in the 12th house, we see really a fundamental tension between the belief system that is created as a result of interaction and relationships to the full immersion into the experience of oneness. And so Aries, while there's a lot of attention and mental activity and focus, and soon to be your chart ruler entering this realm of the 9th house, on the belief systems and the meaning and understanding of what it's all for and what it all means, the feeling of the moon and also the absolutely dissolving power of Neptune are both in the 12th house, in a territory that they are very familiar with. And in fact, Neptune is at home in the 12th house. So really, Aries, you'll find that while there is, you're really finding your voice, your sustainment, the mental activity, and soon that initiation and courage and spark that Mars will represent coming into the area of belief systems, it's really no match for the truly dissolving power of Neptune in the 12th house, where it's less about action and more about fully immersed in the experience of oneness and being. It is going back to source in the 12th house. And so this, I think, has been, I think, a challenge for everybody, of course, but for Aries in particular, when you're talking about beliefs, sometimes we get them kind of confused with the experience of being at one. It's a very different thing to act on that understanding and to create something substantial as a result of that. It's another thing entirely to find ourselves in a moment of awakening or transcendence. And this is really the main friction that I think Aries has been going through, especially because Mercury has squared Neptune, the Sun over the weekend squared Neptune, and the beginning of this quarter, this lunar quarter, is really about the meaning that we derive from our collective interaction or the process of alchemical transmutation and the experience of just going back to source. So I think that this can be the moon in the 12th house in and of itself can be very confusing for everybody. And in the sun in the 9th house, you really are wanting to conquer some new horizons and finding your voice and sustainment through things like understanding and study and maybe even traveling. It's really about broadening your horizons. And there's a real possibility of expansion when you really grasp the meaning of relationships. But when you have the moon in the 12th house and meeting Neptune as it did on Friday into Saturday into Sunday, the confusion and the passive or defeatist attitude is very strong. And I actually pulled a card for you, and I'm doing this for everybody just to kind of help direct me, but I feel really compelled to share it because it's the High Priestess. And let me see if I can give a good... It's in a deck called the Uncommon Tarot, and this is not a very good picture of it, but I'll do better next time. But no, it's the High Priestess, and that's the second in the major arcana of the tarot. It's the moon, right? And so there's something very important for you about the moon, especially at the beginning of this quarter, that it's very confusing, but it leaves you very open to the collective unconscious. But Neptune is dissolving a lot of ghosts of the past. There's a real potential here that started, even though there is a push and a real drive to like conquer new horizons. And with Mars now coming into that area, you're really gonna feel it. But the diffusion and the confusion with the moon and Neptune together, I think is really challenging that, because they are in fact different experiences to act in accordance with meaning and understanding and spread out and expand, and then just to be at one with what is, and to feel the whole and to reflect back the whole meaning of the transition from beginning to end to beginning again. And Neptune, along with this, is really helping dissolve ghosts of the past when you're talking about the 12th house, and can really stimulate some serious compassion for those who have been impacted in some way, and for people suffering as well. And so for Aries, there's such a strong tendency to want to act on things, and you will certainly act on what is meaningful to you. It's kind of no way around it with Mars coming into your 9th house. But this square is really pulling your attention. It is really speaking very loudly how much the moon not only at the beginning of the cycle, but when it becomes full in its entirety in Gemini, which is in your third house of immediate environment. And in your mind, it's important for you to realize, what pulled you away from this very strong outward expression through meaning and understanding, and to broaden your horizons. What was it that actually was almost not forcing, but you couldn't, the wave came and crashed in and it just dissolved all of us with this. And so for you in the 12th house, I think a lot of dream time, and with the high priestess involved, very much the inner realm, the transcendental realm, and a really strong astral connection to something that maybe was so elusive that you may not really even know, but it's causing some sort of like sticking point, Aries, with all of the meaning that you have really been finding yourself through, and also too that you are about to start acting on. So this moment here was to, I think, for all of us to really feel into the fact that there's no time, there's no space. It's all happened already. And for Aries in particular, really feeling into that by going within very deeply, maybe in the dream state, I think is probably with the high priestess involved, very much so. Now, what we also find the next big transit, actually, that was on Saturday, which was really gnarly, really gnarly, is that Venus came into a direct conjunction, one of 3, with Pluto. So she'll station retrograde right around the solstice, and then come back over Pluto again. So Venus in Capricorn has had a lot of maturity, a lot of wisdom, a lot of growth and responsibility, and she has gracefully met up with the agent of destruction, and which sets, is the power of creation and transformation. But it's, Pluto's the final word. It is, in fact, the mirror that we, look at ourselves in and see the full experience of being inseparable from each other, basically, and life, right? And that means if we are part of a material world, that we will go through the cycle just like everything else does. So Venus and Pluto came together on Saturday. There were those massive tornadoes that happened. You may have found this being expressed in terms of relationships and something that's very, what we value in terms of our security and a sense of stability, because it's Capricorn. But for Aries in particular, this conjunction is happening, and Mercury is now in the 10th house of your career. And so something very, very big just, I think, just met the ultimate power of transformation. And probably in terms of what you're here to contribute to, what is your mission, Aries? Now that Mercury has moved into this area, you're going to find that the mental realm is hold on one second. The mental realm, I mean, there's going to be a lot of like versatility and mental acuity in terms of the social order, and very sharp intellectual judgment. But it's also very possible that you become too psychologically involved, too mentally involved in something that is not meant to be mentally interfaced with. When we're talking about Capricorn, it is the very nature of reality unfolding. And so there will be a really important connection to Chiron that Mercury is soon going to make. But when it comes to Venus in Pluto, I think there's going to be, for all of us, and now that Mercury's in Capricorn, of really trying to mentally solve a problem, mentally wrap our minds around what happened in very real, very raw, very potent ways that will continue to do so. Venus wants to find meaning. She pulls the meaning towards her. She is attractive, she's magnetic, and really represents our sense of value in the experiences, especially in the 10th house, which affect the public, Aries. So there is already like a desire for people to come together, and a lot of value, a sense of value and meaning in the social order, what we're creating together, and bringing people together and giving it a form, giving it some sort of scaffolding and structure, and Pluto just taking it away, right? When they meet. And Venus knew it was coming. That's the thing. She's, like I said, she handles this with grace because she's mature. She has, grown. There is wisdom, there is and there's grace, right? She knows what it means, and she's willing to she's willing to pull back the layers and let go of what needs to be let go of at this time, in order for she understands, but it's not comfortable. Venus wants to be comfortable, really leads us to wanting to be comfortable. And for Aries, I mean, this is something very much in the society itself, in terms of the institutions that they represent, that's really got impacted somehow for Aries. And so with Mercury coming in today, and then Mars also coming into Sag at the same time today, there's a really, especially for Aries, you're really going to push forward on some great quests and really have the initiative and courage. And Mercury's going to be thinking very seriously about what it is this mission really is, and what is the nature and what does it take in order to create these institutions. It's going to be the square to Chiron for Aries that I think is going to really test the mental realm in terms of this. So if we were to go to the end of the week, Aries, we're going to see here that not only we're gonna go one more day here, because I want you to see that here we go. Aries, we're going to look at the full moon, which is in the third house of your thoughts and immediate environment and knowledge. But we're also going to look at Mercury, which is ruling your third house. So this is pretty significant, actually, moving into your 10th house, but is going to square Chiron. Chiron's retrograde right now, but it will have stationed by this time on the 18th, which is the day of the full moon. So Chiron's stationing direct, and all of this internalized work we've been doing, each of us, in terms of what are the identities that have been imposed upon us that have led us to feel shame and guilt about ourselves and our own potential to be, right? We have, what we are, each of us as a subjective identity has all of the potential of our genetics to unfold, right? We have a spark of creation, which is the seed. It doesn't become viable till it's planted, but it has all of the potential within it. And for Aries, Chiron has really been wreaking havoc, I think, on your very identity. Aries people are the ones who are out in front, and they are the ones who are ruled by Mars. And so Mars is going to be the pioneer and moving forward and out front and taking the lead. And so Chiron especially has been really, I think, really challenging Aries people to step into this very natural identity, because you get pulled off and feeling guilty about it. Now, the square to Mercury here in Capricorn is really going to be interesting, because while the mental energy might be focused on what do we need to do, what is it that we need to correct, what is it that we need to implement, being very focused on the larger structures and what are what's being destroyed about them and how to interface with them. But specifically, the potential for all of us here in this moment is going to have mental resonance with either a false holographic reality or the true nature of natural law, the true nature of life, unadulterated life, natural life. without any type of control mechanism that's overlaid. So the Mercury, the discernment that we all need to exercise is substantial. And for Aries people, it will be in it'll be in these very institutions that represent what we're contributing to in our efforts and in our relationships, like the larger structure. So there'll be certainly some, thinking about it. And like I said, there's versatility, there's quick adjustment with Mercury in your 10th house to the needs of the social order, right? You'll be really able to put pieces together, right? Maybe mend some broken areas or fix some things, right? And be very much in tune mentally with the resonance of whatever is your career, right? This is about your destiny, your zenith, your what are you here to contribute to? What society, and the 11th house is the society itself that you've contributed to and the essence of it. But this is the actual framework itself. Where is your mind going to be resonating with, right? What frequency is your mind going to be picking up, right? Because every geometric fractal that represents our material reality unfolding is going to have its own energy signature, its own frequency band. Which one are we getting connected with? Because that's going to have a really big impact on how you as a person identify your subjective potency to just be yourself, right? If you are connected into, let's just be really real here. If Aries, if your mind is connected into the parts of the matrix that are falling away and are being destroyed, then you are certainly, this square to Chiron, I think, is certainly going to impact your ability to stay focused on who you are as a person, and the potential of everything that you can be. Remember, Aries people are the emperors. They're the leaders. Or the soldiers, at least, or like the warriors. They are out front. They are leading the way. They are leading the charge. And if you are caught up in more of the business end of things, especially if you're caught up in the resonance of something that's not real or is an overlay. This is why that high priest is so important, and why this full moon in Gemini is going to show you exactly what it is in your mind that is maybe needs to be tweaked or released in order for you to let go of your mental focus on ultimately what Venus is very gracefully accepting as being destroyed. It's remarkable how it's happening. So this square, like I said, Chiron in the first house, Aries, is going to either show you the parts of your idea, it's going to show you what frequencies are pulling you off, or and allow you to like fine tune it, right, to get even better, or more importantly, what frequencies you want to be resonating with when it comes to your mission. What is it that represents the material reality of the world you want to live in, and then being mentally attuned to that. It's going to make a big difference on how you approach this now moving direct Chiron at this point. Now, speaking of the mind, this full moon for you, Aries, is in the 3rd house. And so the sun will have crossed the galactic center in your 9th house. The full moon will be in your 3rd house. This is your immediate environment, and more importantly, it's the way your mind works. It is learning and knowledge and empirical data and logic and reason and evidence and communication, right? It's the functioning of your nervous system as a consciously self-aware being. It's in the 3rd house that you become self-aware for the first time, and then you learn how to function, and your nervous system is building neural pathways in the 3rd house in relation to what's directly around you. There's something about the way your mind works, the knowledge, and in particular Aries, I would say very much in terms of your astral hygiene, in terms of your mind, that is there's something that is holding you back. And the High Priestess, again, you're going to have to be really sharp about this and be very aware of what is getting into your immediate environment through maybe your emotions, possibly being triggered around Chiron, that is going to, that continues to hold you back and hold you down. You will see very clearly. It'll be reflected back onto you very much so. And it's going to have a lot to do with the aspects of meaning and big picture that have lasted and that are beautiful and still necessary. Like, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater necessarily, Aries, in terms of belief systems. But do remember that we just spent the last 18 months with K2, or the South Node in your ninth house. And so where we've been karmically and at a soul level, what is our past and what is providing the momentum moving forward is in the area of belief systems for you and the larger context of meaning. But it's not the direction we're going. We're very much still going in the direction of, right now, Gemini and soon to be Taurus, which has a lot to do for you in the areas, again, of back to the basics. The world around you, and up until recently, it's still with your day-to-day environment. And so there's something, Aries, I think that it's not so much that it's missing, but you're going to see maybe potentially get some sort of reflection and a very, very strong reflection back to you about what part of your mental activity or your neural pathways needs to be released in order for you to really resonate with the right mission. Ooh, there it is. So, and there's something about that mission or that destiny or the career that you identify yourself with that is going through a massive overall, and has been for a long time with Pluto in the 10th house. But with Venus, she gracefully accepted it right into her very nature. And this expressed itself in a lot of different ways. But for Aries, you may find that this is a big part of your career. And this full moon's going to show you what you think and how you feel in your immediate environment that needs to be released and is holding you back from actually moving forward. Okay, Aries? So I think that that's plenty of information to work with during this week. So remember, we are still in the cycle that started with an eclipse in your ninth house. And so it's going to take many months for this purification process fully to come full cycle with the eclipse season in the area of your belief systems, right? And your chart ruler now coming into this area is going to there's going to be some real tendency to go on this massive quest. And I think that's a good thing, as long as you consider that you may be looking for something that you haven't seen before or a brand new understanding. And the full moon is going to be a big part of that, Aries. So thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate each and every one of you that are checking this out. And so I hope you check this out again. There will be more. I'm hoping to keep this format for the weekly moving forward. So let me know what you think about that. I'll be linking the video to the outro here in a second for the astrology report that I already did, the generalized astrology report for the week, so you can check that out. And thank you for supporting me. You can always get more information at my website, which is in the description box below. And take care. I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Bye.